Hey, what's up, everybody? We got some green today. Let's talk about it. We got XRP, and we're going to look at the price and we're going to figure out what the heck is going on here. Are we going up? Are we going down? Well, if we look at the larger time frames, it still suggests, in my opinion, that we are going up. Now, how it resolves itself here is a different story, but essentially, the larger time frames, in my opinion, is still intact, very much so, right? This is a 7.5 year, basically 8 year base coming up on January. And it's basically the same thing that happened over here, right? You got a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways breakout, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. We're right there waiting for the breakout. So, how do we get the breakout? Well, very simple. I'll show you exactly how we can get it. So the first way we could get it is by simply getting a fifth wave. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get 5. We could totally do it. We could totally get 5 waves. Now, if we look at it from this perspective only, which is basically all of 25, basically the whole year of 2025, we've been essentially stuck in this, right? So what is this? This is the biggest thing here, is what this is, particularly because this, whatever this is, will tell us what the next move is, right? And I've said many times what this is over many different videos, but let's talk about it again. So the first thing that this could be is, like I said before, this is a fifth wave. And what this is an expanded flat. We have an A, B, C. It's over, it's finished, it's done. And this is a 1, 2, 1, 2. And we're about to be hopefully finished. And then we're going to continue up in the fifth wave. It's pretty simple, right? That's the bullish way to look at it. Now, we would be foolish not to entertain the bearish idea, or at least the short-term bearish idea. Remember, all bearish moves are short-term, right? Even a bear market is short-term. Anytime crypto, during its discovery phase, remember, we just got Trump elected and we just got regulations this year. So we haven't even gotten our XRP ETF yet. We have a lot of still very bullish ammunition, right? It's all about ammunition. Good news, breaking out at key levels, and sustaining price. So right here, we've been basically in limbo. Like, are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down? So this is classical range behavior. Now, from an Elliott wave perspective, what else could it be, right? We already talked about this being a 3-wave move and, being a fifth wave, but what else could it be? What else could give us a short-term bearish move? Well, very simple. I've talked about it many times. You have 3 waves down. You could say that's A. You have 3 waves up. You could say that's B. So what do you think comes next? A wave C. So this could be some type of wave C. And what this is a classical flat. It could be a running flat or a regular flat. Hope to God it's not an expanded flat. Basically the difference is a regular flat, you would come down to basically the bottom and then bounce off. So A, B, C. So that's the shape of the flat. And then we go up, which means we still have probably a lot more downside. An expanded flat goes beyond that. It's expanding, right? 3, 3, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where you came up, you broke the top, 1, and then you came down and you broke the bottom, 2. So you faked out to the upside, and then you faked out to the downside. And then what do? Then you go up. So it's a double fake out. So that could be an expanded flat. We don't know if that's if it's going to be a flat at all, right? But it has the characteristics of being a flat because you have this three-way move. Now, is this a 1-2, 1-2, or is this a corrective structure? Well, we can't assume that it's a 1-2, 1-2, so we have to assume that it's corrective, right? It is corrective. So if that's the case, then, this could very much be also, for example, 3, 3, and then 3. So it could be like a W, X, and a Y. Now, I would assume that if it is bearish, that it would hopefully just be a running flat. A running flat is very bullish. Basically, you have 3, 3, and then this is 1, 2, and now we're coming down for 3. So this would be a three-way move, something like that. Where it does not break this low, it basically stays in this zone right here, around $222 around there, and then we go up. So that is really my hope and prayer that that happens if we do break down. If we do break down. If we don't break down, then I'm looking at this very interestingly. Now, hold on a minute. Let's it's been a little while since we did a video. And partly because look what we've been doing. Up, down, up, down. We're just kind of ranging, so there's nothing really exciting going on. I'm just kind of waiting so I can have a better, response on what I think is happening. But we're back almost to $3, so I thought this is a perfect day. We're in the middle of the week, but let's look at the bull market support band. This is the important thing that everybody should be watching. Now, this is the first time nobody's talking about this. I haven't heard anybody talking about this. This is the first time that XRP has basically bounced off the bull market support band. Now you could say, yeah, we bounced off here, but then we ended up crashing, right? And then same thing over here, right? Well, kind of, sort of, right? Where we bounce off, but really it did not respect it at all, right? The bull market support band is your elders, and you got to respect your elders, right? No, but I mean, yeah, but the price doesn't always respect it, right? So that's why, when we got this bounce, that was a very important thing, because that was the first time we tested it, right? After breaking below it. Every time you break above it, you got to then test it to confirm that that was what you did. See, over here, we got above it, but then we went below it, right? So it didn't really count. And then this one, we bounced a few times, but then we went below it anyways, right? So that could still happen here. We could bounce and then go below it anyways, right? But this is why you got to take it day by day. I mean, there's no sense of urgency where we have to know the answer today, and if we don't, all hell's going to break loose. We just kind of let the price play out. Now, we talked about all of those possibilities. What else could it be? Well, basically, let's just recap. We have two ideas on the table so far, right? One of them being, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we go up in 5. And the other one is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, right? So it's a complex wave. So that's just two ideas. And I think it's got to be one of those two, right? Both of them, you can say, well, that's up or down. Well, both of them say up. Ultimately it goes up, right? We invest for the future. We don't invest for tomorrow or next week. We invest for the future. So regardless of what happens in the short term, I mean, and we'll talk about a potential bear market when we talk about Bitcoin, but even if we did have a full-blown 2-year, 3-year bear market, it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but it doesn't matter in the context that we're not going to see $10 XRP. We're not going to see, a $200,000 Bitcoin or a $10,000 Ethereum. I think that those numbers are coming at some point, no matter what. It's just inevitable. It's inevitable. But people sort of understand that already, but they want to know, well, when is that going to happen? When can we expect that to happen? Well, to me, we just enter. Okay, first of all, it's October 1st. Let's take a look at the monthly chart and let's take a look at it. Well, how does our monthly candle look? It actually looks not bad at all. If you hate the new update on TradingView because everything's all twisted. But if you look at the monthly candle, you could see it's a little bit of a gravestone right here, a little bit of a rejection, but it is a green candle, and we did have a wick on the bottom, and we did, you could see, test or wick on the bull market support band and then also hold that level. You could see that we're in October 1st. This is a new monthly candle. You can see the wick below here sort of tested into the candle. It's trading above the previous month, which is a good thing. So I would assume that since this is a monthly candle, that we will eventually come back up here and test the order block before, even if we're going to have a complete catastrophe and meltdown, right? Then I would still believe we would come up here and test that line. And that line, let's make it a little bit better. Now, if you zoom out, you can see it looked flat from the naked eye, but when I zoom in towards the price, you could see it wasn't flat. And then I can move it all the way down there. So that's about $3, between 3 and 303. So if we do have a bear market, I would at least think that this candle, given its posture right now, would at least get to that $3 level. So that's the big level to watch. We have not had a monthly candle close above $3. Now look how. Now here's the thing. Everyone wants to say, "Oh, it's bearish now because of this and this and that," right? Blockchain Backer points out some really important things like the MACD crossover. He sold 1/3 of his portfolio. I mean, he's doing the right thing. But I'm not quite as bearish as him completely, right? Because I think more in his idea and others is that if we do break down, we're in a full-blown bear market. It's either we break out into expansion or we go into a bear market. Those are the two options, and I disagree with that. I think if we do break down, I think that this would turn into a flat. See, look at this. You have a cup right here. Why couldn't we just come all the way down and get a handle and then go up, and that could still be a running flat? Why is that not right? I don't understand. I think that's totally valid. Especially, like, for example, I would look at it like this. Now, the problem is why that wouldn't happen would be Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is, very scary high up there. I mean, just look at it. But it still, from a monthly perspective, looks actually bullish. This is actually... So nobody also wants to talk about that this monthly candle is the highest monthly candle in Bitcoin's history. Not the close, but the current... these were obviously there, but they wicked and they wicked off. This could also wick off too. But in the present moment, you have a full body candle that is higher than any other full body candle. Now, the month just started, and I don't like it when the price pumps literally the day of the month. That's usually it's a trickery type of thing. I prefer, by the way, we had a bullish Sunday and a bullish Monday. I don't like that. We really don't want bullish Sundays or Mondays, or we don't want bullish first days of the month. So that's just what I've heard. That there's no science. I'm sure I could go and look at past experiences, but just based on how my experience is, like when you have a very bullish first couple days of the month, it sets up for a bad month. If you have a very bearish first couple days of the month, it sets up for a good month. So it's just kind of the opposite. Anyways, so what I was going to show you before I interrupted myself is this right here. This is exactly what I think XRP could do. And let me put both of them in the screen. By the way, how are we doing this week? Drop a comment. Let me know what's up. What are you guys thinking? Are you a little bit more bearish, or you starting to get a little bit worried? I mean, obviously, there's a couple bearish things that we'll talk about, but remember, we're long-term investors. Yes, it sucks. We all want to get rich now, but at the end of the day, we are at basically the whim of the markets. So like if I want to delete something, I have to do this. There we go. All right. So now if we zoom in on this, and I could have just paused the video and spared you the time. All right. So, and then let's actually do the bull market support band too. Why not? All right. There we go. So these two structures are very similar, right? And then let's actually, yeah, I don't like these new ones here. Let's actually just do this, and we'll do this, and then we'll do that, and then we'll do that, and then we could change the color. There we go. Change the color. There we go. So there you go. I mean, you basically can see it with your own eyeballs that what this could potentially look like. Now, the Bitcoin is a little bit too high of a time frame. Let me tone it down a little bit, even though it did last 6 months. There we go. And then for this one, I could tone it down to the 3-day chart. I'm just trying to get it to look as close as I can to what potentially could. It could be very bearish in the short term. Don't get me wrong. We could drop very scary drops. And then the scary part is, if we do drop, how do we know that it's going to pop back up and go? What if it just continues to roll over? And that's where all the decisions, my decisions, are going to be met in this area. So I got to take safety measures too. For my trades and some of the holding position, the long-term investment stuff's going to sit tight. I'm not going to try to sell half of my investment that I poured in over years and years. It's just crazy. Now, I will take some off the table if I have to, but basically, I'm not going to do that until I can see some evidence that we are indeed going to break down. And we do have a pretty significant area right here. So, but anyways, you can see we have a big pump, and then you have A, B, C, big pump, A, B. I mean, doesn't it make sense that we could just easily come down for C, just like over here, and then play around and then go up? I mean, it makes total sense, right? So that's a very big possibility. Now, where are we at this moment? Well, you could see we're right there, guys. We're right here. And that's a little scary, because what comes next is a big freaking drop, man. It's a big drop. And where did this drop come to? It basically came down to a flat, right? So that would be like coming all the way down to like $1.88. Well, hopefully that does not happen, because that's a big difference in price. I mean, you're talking, we're at $3 basically right now, all the way down to $1.88 just from this little range. When you zoom out even more, I mean, look at the difference in size compared to this, compared to that. It's a big difference, right? So, and that's why I still wouldn't sell my portfolio, not even close, because we are setting higher high or higher, lower, higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high. So if we have a higher low, I mean, the consensus is that we're still going up, right? So there you go. That's kind of what I'm thinking here if we break down. Now, here's the big thing. Let's talk about this, because this is probably the most important thing, because that's what's currently happening right now. So what the hell is that? Is that good? Is that bad? Well, let's talk about it. Now, let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. So let's zoom in And let's take a look here on the smaller time frames. So it's still, it's not the best shape. It's like, well, what is the structure? The let's talk about what I don't like about it. What I don't like about it is that number one, it looks like a descending triangle that it looked like we were breaking out of, but then we came back down. So that's number one. Descending triangles are inherently bearish for the most part. They usually break to the downside, just as an ascending triangle would break to the upside. So the measured move of this descending triangle, if it were to break down, I mean, it's pretty aggressive, but we're looking at, we're still looking at a higher low. So I would assume, somewhere right in this zone would be, between 205, 215, right around there. So that's kind of how I would look at this if it broke down. And what would be the signs that it is breaking down? Well, if this starts to roll over again, and then volatility kind of flattens out, flat, 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 and then it drops. And a very good example of that is none other than Bitcoin again. You can see that's exactly what happened back in the day here. You could see this descending triangle. Now, it has the same type of look to it. Like, for example, you see this right here. That's like right there. And then this is like this. And then if we came down again, come down again, and then up, down, sideways, right? So that would be, yeah, kind of like this, and then just something like that. So that's what we don't want to see. We don't want to see that. We want to see it get the hell out of there, right? So right off the bat, it looks bearish from a descending triangle perspective. So, but what else could it be from like an Elliott perspective? So let me get rid of that. And well, I wanted to say at first, our first assessment was this is an impulse and this is a three-way pullback and it's bullish. But this three-way pullback didn't give us the length. It didn't give us, it just basically gave us a little double bottom, and then it came up again and it gave us another triple bottom, right? So there's really not too much Elliott wave here unless we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A, and then this right here is a B flat, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to come down for 5 for C. That would probably be, one of the best case scenarios, that this is still an ABC and we're working on the fifth wave. And then, because remember, the most bullish time for crypto is sort of October, November, December, January, February, March, April. I mean, any time in those months are usually the best times for bulls. Now, doesn't matter. It does not matter at all if you're in a bear market, right? If you're in a bear market, it could be bad. So, yeah. So the first idea would be descending triangle, which means it breaks down. But if it broke down from a descending triangle, then that would still mean that this is 3 waves down, just like how we have 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then we have 1, then descending triangle 2, and then we come down for 3, and that's our 3 wave down, and then we still go up, and we just have to deal with this big dump that's about to happen. Liquidation. Right? And then also, if we break down A, B, C, right? It's basically the same thing. So that's 2 ideas saying that, yeah, we could break down. Is there any idea that says no? Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one because we broke the bottom. See, if this was an A, B, C, and that was the low, and this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a double bottom, but this double bottom actually took this low. So it's a little bit perplexing, right? And then also, we're not really building a base. you could see what we were doing. Instead of coming down and building a base, what's happening is we come down, we ricochet up. We come down, we ricochet up. We come down, we ricochet up. We really want to set a base in here. But if the problem is if we set a base now, it's going to look like volatility's dying and then we're going to succumb to the descending triangle. So, it's a little bit of it's a tough one in here. So what I would then say is I would actually have a zone right here. And I would say as long as we stay above that zone, I would say we're doing pretty good. Right? This is basically a lot of strength in here. And you could see how much is in there. So we broke out of that zone, but we've never came down to test that zone. So we may end up testing this zone sometime very soon. So here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll say. It looks like this is not financial advice. I could be totally dead wrong. I want the price to go to $10 right now. But I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that's what's happening. But I will tell you this. It does kind of look like we're going to break down right now. It could change, and I could show you that in a second. But if we do break down, that doesn't mean we're going in a full-blown bear market. That just means we're coming down to backtest this range and potentially creating our running flat. This is our running flat pattern. Boom. So, same thing kind of like, you have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, right? It's always in threes. So there you go. That's basically it. Now let's zoom in here a little bit. Now, how could we negate this? Well, let's try to be bullish here for a second. If I did respect this trend line, you could say technically we are above the trend line, and we did break above it a little bit, but then we came back below, but now we're back above. So which trend line do you suppose is correct? Well, you always assume the worst one is correct, right? You always want to be conservative with it. So what I could do is I could just put two of them here and basically say this is our neutral zone, because we really want to break above the downward resistance line, right? The supply line. So here's our demand line. All the demand is coming down here at 275, but the supply is coming in at what was that? Like 350, 360, like 350, 320, and now like closer to $3, right? So you can see the supply you can see the exits are getting lower and lower and lower. So what we want to see is us regroup in here and try to break that line so that we can have a real retrace. And what that could do is it could be an interesting B wave, right? It could be boom, boom, and then boom. So actually, let me get rid of this. And I could just put this as an ABC like that. So we could still get something like this where this is actually turning into even more complex than it already is, right? And basically we have a B wave, 335 or 333, right? And that could be B. So if that's A, then we would still have to come down later on for C. So it could still be, that's just an alternative. It doesn't mean that's what's going to happen. I'm just giving you an idea that could also play out that way. So, well, it's like, how do we know for sure? Well, you don't until it happens. Now, if we look at the small time frames, they're not too bad. The only thing I don't like about it, and the reason why that this rally failed, hopefully this one doesn't fail, is because why? Because what do I always talk about? You got to get away from the scene of the crime. You just had a big crime scene. You got to get away from it, and then you can go up. The problem is when you come down, you go straight back up, you lose momentum. You come all the way down. You didn't get away from the scene of the crime. You built a little bit of a base, but then it still didn't matter. So if this could build us a little bit of a base, and you can kind of see too that this could be maybe a shoulder. You have a head and you have a shoulder. Look at that. That could be an inverse head and shoulder perspective. But you know, tomorrow is Thursday, which has usually been the most bullish day of the week if we're bullish. Thursday could also be the most bearish day of the week if we're bearish. So since Wednesday is bullish, usually when Wednesdays are bullish, what I've noticed is that Thursdays are also pretty positive. Let's just say positive. There's no guarantee that's going to be positive. It could be extremely bearish, but especially because we're in the first of the month. So that also plays a big role. The reason why, you could, if the market is bearish and it's the first of the month, a lot of times the reason why the market goes up in the first of the month is to fill in some of those order gap or those order blocks, right? You want to fill in some of those. You want to go up and tag some of the order blocks, right? Referring to the monthly scale. Now, if we go back to the monthly, remember what I said earlier, that we could come back up and tag the top of this area. So if we zoom back in, where is that area? Well, there it is right there at $3.03. So I would say this. If the price gets back up here and gets rejected, then our three-wave move is totally in play. If we could get up here and kind of flag out and get out of there, because that's the big area, is that $3 level, right? Actually, let me clone this, and I'm going to put that right there. So between 303 and 312, that's a very important area to get through. And since this was so sharp, I just don't see it going straight up. It's just very hard for me to see that. I would probably, if it is going to go up, it would probably kind of cock back like a loaded gun like this and then shoot up. But then when you do that, you give yourself a three-wave move. So, and then you're right in the retrace level, right? You have point A, point B. That would finally be point C, right? And then from there, we could go up or we could come down. So since we're at the low, you have the top of the range, the bottom of the range. We're more so towards the bottom of the range, which means we're more likely to gravitate towards the middle of the range before making that ultimate decision. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. If you can hit the like button, I'd appreciate that. And we're just going to cut it right there. But if you want to cut the video, that was it. But basically, let's talk about some other coins here. If you want to stick around, we can talk about some other coins. Real quick, though, on the small time frames, look at this. This could potentially be a five-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So real quick here, let me go back here, right there. And, someone asked, well, what if it's like this? Real quick, what if this is an A, right? And this is a B right here. Or actually, no. So we would have 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. So that would be W. And then you have 3 up, that would be X. And then you have a complex Y, which is A, B, C, and that's your Y. And I don't like it at all because it's in the wrong degree. Like if you look at W, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. I guess it's possible, but not likely. And if that was the case, if this was a WXY, then that would be very bullish and we would be breaking out. So, but again, real quick, on the smaller time frames, you could see 5 waves down in here. Kind of, sort of. It's not the best looking, but you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you do have a 5-wave move. Better than 3, right? So this is the first 5-wave move we've ever had. Since going back over here, and it looks a lot like this. just smaller. And then it came down, and then it comes down, right? So we're still at major risk here. But if somehow this could be, you know, a shoulder, a head, and a shoulder, and basically you would need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, right? And there's your shoulder. So shoulder, head, 5-wave move in the head, 3-wave move in the shoulder, like that, and then we break out. That would be the best case scenario I see. So hopefully we could see something like that. I really would love to see XRP go on and hit $10. No matter what, I believe that will eventually come. Remember, we still have the XRP ETFs, and we still potentially have another digital asset bill coming in Q4. And Q4, you know, you get the Halloween effect, you get the Santa Claus rallies, right? And if the Russell, like BCB said, if the Russell can break out during that Santa Claus rally, then it could ignite some fuel to the flame, because this story can turn around very fast, right? Everything seems bearish. I mean, for goodness sake, he sold 1/3 of his portfolio, and I totally respect that, and I will be selling some of mine too if we go below this zone. And it's like, I already did take a little bit off the table just to pay off credit card debt. I use credit cards to buy everything. People say, oh, why would you use credit cards? Credit cards are horrible. No, credit cards are great, because what that does is it gives you better credit, and then it also gives you cash back. If I use my debit card for every purchase, I don't get points. I don't get cash back. I don't get rewards. I don't get crap. So why wouldn't I just use my credit card bill? Oh, because then you go in debt. Well, you just pay it off, right? My credit card is linked to my bank account. I just hit make payment, and I pay it off every 2 weeks, every week, every month, whatever. And I just use it as if I'm using a debit card. So people think they have to use a credit card because they don't have the money. Even if I have the money, even if I'm a millionaire, I still use a credit card, because why would you want to leverage other people's money, especially if you get rewarded for it, right? There's a little trick. So everything you buy, use a credit card with points back, and then you build your credit, you get money. I mean, it's a no-brainer. But yeah, crypto has still a lot of ammunition. I mean, weren't we supposed to get the XRP ETF? Why are they hiding it? What are they doing? Isn't it possible that these market makers have everything planned out, and that they're going to release it at the right time, causing the right reaction, right? Because think about it. If they released the XRP ETF right here, that would have been terrible, right? But if let's say we get 3 down, 3 up, and then 3 down, and then all of a sudden everyone thinks the world's over, then we get the regulation, second piece of regulation, and the ETF, and then maybe Ripple says, oh yeah, we partnered with this company. Boom. I mean, that's all it takes. You know, crypto could literally change in one day how fast it can change. But that's why we always have to look at the larger time frames. Now, this is considered a large time frame. This is 1 year right here. That is 1 year. And you can see we've been basically going sideways, right? So it hasn't been fulfilled yet, right? So that's why I think, you know, if this breaks down, you know, that's why I really don't like the descending triangle. That's the one thing I hate about it. I would much rather it be something like this, where we did this, right? And then it sort of came up, and then we shot like really hard down, and it had more of the 3-wave shape instead of this descending triangle drop. You know what I mean? So anyways, let's look at some other charts. Maybe we might get some more context here. So first of all, Bitcoin dominance is definitely on our side at the moment. But here's the thing. This looks like it could use a retrace, right? So you have the Bitcoin bull market support band. So it looks like it's going to do this, maybe get back above it, get back up here, and then hopefully the new year we just kerplunk, right? So it might take until January before this thing starts to rip and roar to the downside. All right, let's look at Bitcoin and then we'll look at some altcoins here. So Bitcoin, you know, looking at, well, just look at the 5-day chart. We have a bullish. I mean, you got a 5-day bullish engulfing candle. That's pretty impressive. I mean, and then also Bitcoin is respecting the bull market support band miraculously. Look at this. This is beautiful. So, you know, it's not over. The worst thing about the Bitcoin chart, the worst possible thing about it is this. You have 7 waves, and I don't know why. I mean, BCB is the king of the 7 wave stuff. I don't know why he never mentioned it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Anytime you get 7 waves, I mean, it's very likely that you're going to go over. And it's really not 7, it's really 5, but you're counting the subwave of the 3rd or sometimes the 5th. But that doesn't mean that this 7th wave is finished yet. Because if you look at the 7th wave, you know, you really don't, you have this big one, you know, you don't really have, I mean, this could be like a flat 2, A, B, C, right? A running flat. So 1, and then 2, and then we go up for 3, 4, and then 5, and that's your 7th wave. So the 7th wave is still in development, but we did have the MACD crossover and things like that, and that is very, very important to understand. And I did like his fractal here, that you know, a lot of the altcoins, guys, are in the retrace levels. Like, oh man, wait a minute, XLM here. You could see, you know, we're right. Yeah, point A, point B, point C. Now, when I look at XLM, oh, you know what? I actually forgot something. Now I'm looking at XLM. It actually reminded me of something. XLM looks freaking bullish. Look at the way it's flagging out. It's not giving me this nasty, ugly, descending triangle look. It's giving me a proper flag. I love this. I love this a lot. Look. This could be the real deal. Look at this. I like this a lot. Look at this. This is a nice flag, guys. This is a beautiful flag. I haven't looked at XLM in a minute, but that's a nice looking flag. And we're cocking back, right? You have an impulse to the upside and you're correcting to the downside. What do you think is going to happen? And we have a double bottom and we're bouncing off the bull market support band. Guys, this looks bullish to me. I think this could seriously come out. But even if we did come out, you know, when we had something like this, we could still go down later, like A, B, C, you know, something like that. So, you know, there's a couple ideas here, right? You have 3 down, 3 up, and then you have 1, right? And then instead of this breaking out, what you get is a retrace and then a move down. So 3, 3, 3, go. And that's a flat. A, B, C, go. I mean, and it's the same thing as XRP. And I think that's a very good way to put it. The problem is you're in the middle of the retrace levels, which makes it very challenging, right? You have point A, point B, you're right in the middle, point C. And that's exactly, if we look back at Bitcoin here, and let's throw on, I don't know, let's throw on THETA. You could see that THETA only went into a retrace, right? While Bitcoin actually went up. So is that kind of what's happening now? Kind of like this, whoops. He made a good point, you know, like this little area right there, right? Well, maybe, possible. But we'll jump to THETA. I mean, we're already at 43 minutes. Jeez. Man. What the hell do I say all in that whole time? Jeez. I could watch a 17-minute video and I think, man, this video is taking forever. And I'm here at 43 minutes and it's like it has just barely started. So what the hell? Anyways, okay, so what I was going to say here for XLM, let me see if it was going to work. XLM looks freaking nice right here. But what I was going to say is that this could be a W, X, Y, X, Z. It's a triple combo correction. It's also in the shape of a diag. And it's breaking out. And it's also in the shape of a falling wedge. It's a falling wedge type of move. So I think XLM looks very good right here, guys. I don't know about you, but I think it looks nice. Now, would I buy it right now? Probably not. I mean, Jesus, it just went up a lot here. Yeah, look at that. You had a little 1-2-1-2 here, and then you kicked off, and now this could have a little reverse flag, and we could be on our way. And tomorrow's Thursday, we could have a good Thursday and Friday. We'll see. We'll see. I really hope that, we're in Q4 now. By the way, what about Q4? This is what happens when you don't do a video in like a week. The freaking video takes forever. So a 3-month chart. Oh, yeah. I totally forgot. We had a quarterly candle close, guys. I totally forgot about that. Okay. So if you look at the quarterly candle close, look at XLM. Guys, I don't know about you, but this looks insanely bullish to me, XLM. And I've said this many times. I've just gotten a little bit more bearish over the last 2 weeks with Bitcoin and some of the altcoins. I've been, but I've also understood that that's exactly what we were talking about. For example, when we look at THETA, when I show you THETA, the Wyckoff accumulation stuff, that was a big thing that, is playing out. But look at this. Look at this W. You're cupping into the resistance. You're cupping into the resistance. You're flagging out. You're right at the verge of a breakout. The Russell is too. So if the Russell can break out, XLM could just fly to the stratosphere, guys. I actually am seriously considering swapping a little bit of XRP for XLM because I think XLM could have a better return. Yeah, it looks really good right here. The only issue is that we don't know. So it's really going to come down to two things, guys. You ready? 2 ideas. I won't waste your time. A, B, C, go. But we still have a big move down coming. Or we flag out, we go. So which one is it? It's got to be one of those two. I'm not saying it's going to go up or it's going to go down. I'm saying it's most likely going to go up either way. Now, if we break this low, I will say, hey, wait a minute now. This is not right. This is not good at all. But that's nowhere even close to breaking that low. All right, we didn't even look at Bitcoin. Oh, yeah, we have the quarterly close. So let's look at the quarterly close for Bitcoin. Oh, my God. We just had the highest quarterly close in Bitcoin's history. And we're bearish? I don't get it. I don't understand. I understand a lot. I understand a lot. So what about the sequential? So we have a 9, right? The sequential basically tells you, hey, you could be getting exhausted here. But yeah, I mean, dude, look at that. All right, but what about XRP? I did not look at XRP's. Where the hell are you, XRP? Wow. XRP did as well. XRP had the highest quarterly candle close in crypto history. Think about that for just a second. XRP's been around for how many years? Look at this, guys. How many candles is that right there? Where's my little measurement here? There we go. We go right there, and that is approximately 47 quarters. That's a lot. That's 4,000, basically 4,300 days. 4,000 days. Out of 4,000 days, we have the highest close in history. And this candle right here is trading above this candle. So if you look, this was our last candle. We have an engulfing candle, right? It's engulfing this. It's engulfing that. And now we have this candle trading above our engulfing highest monthly quarter candle close in history. Like, I mean, come on, that's awesome. So what I was going to say in terms of XRP, though, what XLM reminded me is this right here. So if I go like this, yeah, see, it just doesn't work right. I wanted to connect these lines here. But basically what I was going to say is, one second here, let's take our handy dandy right here. So we go boom, 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 right? Which doesn't really make a lot of sense. So, but it would make sense for XLM. But
What about XRP? Well, what if it's a triangle? Remember, we talked about this too, I believe. A, B, C, D, E, right? This could be a triangle. It's not a contracting triangle, it's a descending triangle, but it's still a triangle that could lead to upside, right? So let's go back. Now let's totally switch gears and let's look at SHIB for a minute. Now remember, let me show some screenshots. This is exactly what we talked about last time. That this could be coming down. Watch, for example, look at this right here. Look at this. So we have an impulse to the upside, right? Okay, that's wave one. We have a move to the downside. Okay, that's A. Look at that. And then we have 1, 2, 3. That's a B. Oh my God, it looks really good. And then what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe one more down for 5 for C. A, B, C. And then we build a base. We get away from the scene of the crime. You know, October, November is kind of like building up. And then December, January, February, we're frickin' flying like a bat out of hell, right? So, because remember, if you look at SHIB or THETA, look at what we have, guys. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down with bullish. We have a big ABC here, A, B, C. Impulse to the upside, A, B, C. And then we're building a base in here. I mean, this is bullish. This is bullish to me. But the problem is Bitcoin, because it's like, well, how long are these freaking altcoins going to take? They need to get going because Bitcoin is like, you know, Bitcoin is holding on the edge of a cliff and it's holding and it's holding. And he's like, guys, hurry up. I can't hold much longer. Come on, come on. Just a little bit more time. And they're trying to defuse the bomb and they're trying to cut the green wire, then the blue wire. And they're like, come on, I can't hold it any longer. Right? It's like, I don't even know what I was saying, but it's like, you know, it's one of those types of situations. And then you also have the DXY, which is at a double bottom, which is bad, right? So you have a lot of good things and you have a lot of bad things. And usually when that happens, the market makers are doing that to please the bears and please the bulls. So why are they doing that? Because they're collecting liquidity. Why are they collecting liquidity? Because they're getting ready to what? Make a big move. And what that move is going to look like, it could possibly be a series of moves. For example, like XRP. You know, if this starts to break down, okay, the bears are right, the bears are right, the bears are, yeah, I knew we were right, the bears are right. Boom, and then we go up. And then it collected liquidity, collected more liquidity, and then it just took all of that liquidity out. See how they do that? So that could be a very real thing. Dude, I'm already at 53 minutes. I can't even believe it. And we haven't even talked about THETA. Jeez. I hope you guys are still watching and I'm just not talking to myself here. But let's look at... I think what I have to say is very interesting. And I think, you know, I'm completely... I wouldn't say completely different than a lot of YouTube TAs, but I do provide a lot of context in what I say. I just don't show a 5-minute video and draw some lines and say done. I explain with as many words as I can why I think what I think. And I'm not necessarily making an argument for the bulls or an argument for the bears, but I am actually, right? So let's look at some old, let's look at this. No, not that. Actually, I was at Lake Arrowhead yesterday. Took a nice drive up there. I got my new exhaust pipe. I got it flashed and tuned. It's so amazing. But anyway, let's take a look at some screenshots that I did. So this is Bitcoin here, and I'm comparing it, or this is XRP here, and I'm comparing it to Bitcoin, what it did back in July of 2024. Basically, a complex correction here. So, you know, you could see, right, you have this little move in the middle here, and then it slammed down for C, right? So we could be in this final move here before up, or it could be finished, right? So that's one picture. Another one is what we already looked at, right? Which is the descending triangle look. And this could still qualify as 3 down. So 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. And then we go up. So even if we do break down, even if we go if we're at $3 tomorrow and we go all the way down to $2, that's $2, or no, wait, we're at $3 and we jump all the way down to 2. That's $1, basically, a dollar drop. We could still technically go to $10 after that, right? Because that would create the shape that we want. Here's another look you can look at. It's not really appropriate, but you had this 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 flag out a little bit, flag out, impulse. Maybe we get the impulse. I mean, it's total. Just look at it. It looks like that could totally happen. Oh, by the way, I got it dyno tuned at a place called Attack Performance, and they actually have a race team, and the team that they raced actually won one of the races over the weekend. I thought that was cool. Okay, so here's Theta, and this is the last picture I had, the last video. I can't remember when the last video was, but this is what I had on here, and it looks awesome. Look at this. Basically, we're going to look at, this is a screenshot from, right here, September 22nd. So that's a long time. That's like 8 or 9 days ago since we last did this. Okay, so 8 or 9 days ago, I was basically saying this. So basically what we have here, let me fix that, is a Wyckoff accumulation for the price of Theta, right? Where we kind of come down here, right? We work our way up, then slam the low, come back up to resistance, get rejected again. And then this is very, very important. Number 6, the creek. You could see that's exactly what it's kind of doing. And then it shoots up and then it slams down. And then there's your spring right there. And then hopefully we can get the hell out of there. So I think that is still very valid, very on track. Now let's look at the Theta chart. And you could see that's exactly how it's starting to transpire here. You could see, right, we have this 3-wave move. And then, see the difference here, and this is what's really interesting to me, is that XRP did not break the low yet. Let me put XRP up here. So you could see XRP is respecting the low, but Theta has more of a traditional ABC. Theta's shape is better than XRP shape, but Theta shape already has the ABC. So if Theta already has the ABC, then maybe we don't have to break below for XRP. Maybe it's just doing one of these triangles that's going to break to the upside. But the problem is it's a descending triangle, something we don't like. So it doesn't mean it's impossible, but there you go. So Theta is actually on a little bit of a rampage right now. Look at that. That's a big daily engulfing candle right there. Look how fat that son of a gun is. That thing is moving pretty aggressively here. Look at that. So what we have here is 1, 2, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have 4, and then 5. So we have 1, 2, all of that's 3, then we have 4, then we have 5. So that could be the end of a 5-wave move. And this could be on our way, 1, 2, 3, we could be on our way here. Or this right here could be a flat. So 1, 2, 3, and all of that's 4, and then we still have to go down for 5, and then go up. So if we could break above that, if we could get back in this level, it'll make it less likely that we would have to go down in for that 5th wave. So, but yeah, Theta is still, I mean, there's nothing too much wrong with it. I still think we are looking at the Ethereum W model, where we basically have something like this, right? I mean, it looks absolutely insane to me. So if you remember Total 3 or Ethereum, right, we blasted off. We had a big crash. Same thing with Theta. Blasted off, big crash. And then we came up in a shallow retracement. And then here's the really, really interesting part. You had a 1, 2, 3-wave move. 1, 2, 3-wave move. You hit the low, you hit the low, you hit the low, you hit the low. Look at that. And then what happened after that? We blasted off. So is it possible that something happens? Regulation, Trump, economy, Federal Reserve, interest rates, Russell breaking out, stock market, economic data. I mean, there could be anything that really kicks it off. Maybe the Russia-Ukraine war, done. Maybe China trade deal, done. Or I don't know, it could be a lot of stuff. And then all of a sudden, bam, we blast off. I wouldn't discount Trump. Not even close. I know he's got stuff up his sleeve that we don't even know. So very, 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 very possible that that's what's playing out. And I wish more TA people could show this side of it. You know, they kind of only show what's going on at the day. You know, they don't really zoom out too much, unfortunately. So that's it for that. You know, Theta, you know, could it go lower? Yeah, it could go lower. You know, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But as long as we stay in this range, remember, we're building a range, guys. So we could still come back to the bottom of the range, and this could be a spring phase. We could actually break below it, and it could still be bullish. So we still have a lot of wiggle room, but we don't have a lot of wiggle room with Bitcoin. And did we even look at Bitcoin yet? We did, and I keep ignoring it. Okay, so Bitcoin, let me look at the daily here. So, yeah, you know, it still looks great because, look, you have an impulse, you have a three-wave pullback. You have an impulse, you have a three-wave pullback. This is a flat. And then what do you have? You actually have a double bottom here. So you actually went up, came back down, made a double bottom, and you're still climbing. So here's the problem with Bitcoin is we don't know. Okay, so first of all, you have point A, point B. Now we're approaching point C. So here's the two ideas with Bitcoin. Ready? Here we go. So either the first idea is we have a flat, we have a 1, 2, and we're going to go on our way and break out. Simple, simple, simple. The other alternative is we have 3 waves down, we have 3 waves up, and then we have 3 waves back down, and that becomes a flat in itself, or a or a WXY or ABC, basically something like that, and then you break out. Basically the same thing that kind of happened over here, right? Same shape. Just remember that shape right there. And then that's, so like boom, 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 and then we have boom, whoops, boom, 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 something like that. So, yeah, I mean, you know, you know, I would be extremely bearish on Bitcoin if Bitcoin fell back below a couple different areas. First of all, if we break this low here, and more importantly, if we break that there, and this line right in here. So this zone, very, very important, we hold that. So as long as we stay above this area, I think we're doing okay. But you know, so so let's translate this to XRP, right? So let's put XRP on the screen here, and we'll zoom out, and we'll take that off. So basically, if we have 3, 3, and this comes up, and then it comes back down, and then it gives us a real 3-wave move, then that could mean something like where XRP can do something like that, and it also gives us a 3-wave move. Then we go up, then we go up. So it does match. It matches very well. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Real quick though, we could do a couple rapid fires if you want to stick with me. Drop a comment, drop a like. It really appreciate that. Share the video. You know, I haven't done a video in a while, so you know the views kind of, you know, I guess it depends where the market is, but you know, kind of a lot of people right now are kind of complacent. So real quick, Filecoin could be a buying opportunity of a lifetime, to be quite honest. So I mean, you have basically 3 waves up, you have 3 waves down, and it looks like a flat to me. You have all of this congestion right at the lows. It looks like it's building a base. This could go up rapidly in 5 waves, 3, 3, 5. So that could be probably one of the biggest winners if that did succeed without even going into price discovery. Very interesting. ADA. ADA is not the ADA chart I want. There we go. Here's the ADA chart I want. And there we go. So the problem with ADA, and here's the other issue too with XRP, right? So XRP could be like something like this. See how that was a descending triangle, right? So that's actually one of the most bearish things about today is that XRP could be playing out the ADA chart. I mean, it looks really scary, and we should definitely keep an eye on this. But look, let's just take a little bit of a screenshot here. You can see, you got 3 waves down, right? You got 3 waves down, right? And then you kind of actually, let's just do that. 3 waves down, 3 waves down, and then you got this move back up. You got this move back up, and then if you notice, you're kind of in this descending triangle here, right? You see what I mean? That's freaking scary as hell, man. I mean, we're at the verge, guys. This could, and the thing is even if this does break down, we could still get our flat and go. But what if we don't get the flat? What if we just have a bear market and this thing just freaking goes kaplunk? Well, then if we do have a major bear market and we have a major crash, then I believe that this is the Trump transition from the Federal Reserve to, and because if you look at gold and silver is about to break out of the biggest cup and handle in human history. Man, it's been a while. There's been a lot going on, right? So silver could be breaking out massively, and what that means is, because it all comes down to Trump versus the Federal Reserve, right? Trump versus the Fed. So if it is Trump versus the Fed, and we do have an economic system, well, then maybe the economic system can be brought down and we have a big crash, a big sell-off, a liquidation, so that Trump can point out, oh, look what the Fed did. See, they didn't lower rates in time, blah, 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 blah. And then we audit the Fed. We change it. We introduce legislation to change the Fed. And, I think something like that could happen. But in order for that to happen, you need an event. You need some type of major event. So what if that event is financially related, obviously, right? So if we did have if this is telling the story and we're going to melt down and have a big crash, then obviously, that wasn't part of the plan, right? So obviously that would be, in my opinion, Trump going head to head with the Fed in some regards to that. But anyways, all right, I'm trying to go as quickly as I can here. So ADA actually looks great. I mean, so far, right? Because if you notice, you have an impulse, you have 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, right? So you have 3 waves down. You have a double bottom here. But look at this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. Look at the A, B, C. That looks really, really good. Look at that. That looks really good, actually. Let's take, and we bounced off the bull market support band. Hell yeah. So look at that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. I mean, what? Why are we bearish again? Why are we bearish again? I don't know. I mean, yeah, we do know. Obviously, that's what I mean. Like, there's bullish things and there's bearish things. And my job isn't to say, yes, it's one or the other. My job is to just present both sides and let people decide for themselves what they believe. I'm just trying to give you the information. I'm not, showing, this is exactly what's going to play out. But I do know exactly what's going to play out. And that is we're going to blast off and go to the moon. That at some point over the next between year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year, time is the hardest thing. But over time, we will have much higher prices, right? I mean, it's just like crypto in the early days. I mean, look how early Cardano is in ADA. I mean, do you think Charles is okay? We're done. We plateaued. I mean, look how long Walmart's been in business. Look how long Amazon's been in business, and they're still climbing like crazy. So you think it's just gonna, just because you have a bear market doesn't mean anything. It just means that it's time to load up. So yeah, ADA looks great. I mean, this could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's possible. And it's probably, yeah, because it looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have 4, and then we have 5. So I would look out for one more low, guys. But if this comes up and it starts breaching up here, I would say, nah, I think it's probably done, right? So I am not in the I'm not in any trades right now. I probably should have been long. I was not long. I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines. I'm just trying to wait and see how it plays out. Been kind of busy, but this looks really bullish to me. You're kind of building a base on top of your base. You're correcting down, right? So let's keep looking. So Algorand already broke below its descending triangle, which tells me, well, maybe XRP doesn't have to do that, right? Because you could see this is it broke down already, right? So you have A, B, and then or some kind of three-way move here, right? So you have an impulse, you pull back. You have an impulse, you bullishly pull back. So let's see if this is like 3 up, maybe 3 down, and then we go up in 5, and that whole thing becomes 3, and that's more like this, and then we get the bear market, right? So I mean, it's very possible that we still have to have this come up here, and then maybe rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, breakout. So it could take some more time, right? You could see it's building up in a channel, boom, 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 go, right? So that's Algorand, Ethereum. So this is the problem. Ethereum looks way too bullish to me for us to be starting a bear market. Look, Ethereum looks great. You have 3 waves down, you have 3 waves up, you have 3 waves down. You have a perfect base. Boom, boom, boom. You have this massive impulse. And if you look at the what's going on at the moment, look at the 3-way pullback. You have boom, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this looks like a 3-way pullback. 3-way pullback, impulse. 3-way pullback. Maybe we get another impulse right off the bull market support band, mind you. So am I more bullish or am I more bearish? Well, I would say I'm bullish neutral with a very bearish sort of lingering understanding that this could be, still a situation we don't want to go through. But man, HBAR and XLM actually look to me the best in terms of their flags. That looks like a sexy flag right there. Look at that. It's like perfect. So you have this impulse, you have a very nice flag, or you could say a falling wedge. You have you're right on the bull market support band. So this is our moment. This is the chance for the bulls to say, you know what, let's go. So, and it would happen at a time where it would be least expected because a lot of people are complacent, kind of bearish, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, W, X, Y, X, Z. I mean, it's very, very, very possible. So Link. I mean, look at Link. It looks great. Look at this. You have literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, A, B, C, 2. You literally have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, A, B, C, 2. Now, here's the problem though. The 2 doesn't, it could be finished, right? And 2 ideas here for you. This could be 3 waves and then we go. Or it could be 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then 3 waves back down. And then we go. And all that does is just make it bigger. It makes it in a bigger degree. So my final assessment is I would say that we have a little bit more upside. Let's see what happens when we get through the retrace levels. And let's see if this is, flag out with a real breakout. Very, very possible. I mean, everything looks pretty damn good to me so far. There's a few problems, right? Like Bitcoin could be an issue. But remember, Bitcoin just set the highest monthly or the highest quarterly candle close in history, right? Now, if you look at ICP, ICP is also interesting because it actually already broke down, right? It actually has 5 waves now. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now you have 5, and you have that slightly lower low. So you have an impulse and a proper 3-wave pullback. So ICP could literally be the best buying opportunity of your life. I mean, it's possible. I mean, I can't say for certain. Again, this is not financial advice. I could be totally wrong. We could go to zero. But, it just seems to me that, you kind of have like 3 waves up, maybe 3 waves down, and then you go up in 5, and it becomes like this expanded flat where it just throws off everybody, right? So it doesn't look, here's another thing. This is very important. Look how long, guys, look how long we've been dumping, right? We've been started over here. We're dumping. Little bit of a bounce. We're dumping. Crash. Sideways. Very bearish. Crash. Look how long that's taken. Now, what that does psychologically is it creates complacency. It creates an environment where we're just going to keep doing that. But then what happens? Bam, you shoot up all of a sudden. It's like, well, where did that come from? It took it all back, and it took back basically a year back in a couple months, right? And that could totally happen, because look how long we've been dumping here. I mean, we basically have been just crashing this whole time. And when was that? We've basically been crashing the entire year. Actually, 2 years. 2.5 years or so, right? So this was basically the beginning of 2025. So if you look at ICP from all of 2025, we've been going down. So it's like, well, at some point you should get a bounce. We haven't really had a bounce. We've had 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do we have bullish divergence? Not really. Well, yeah, we do. We do have, definitely, yes. We have it on the 4-day. It's very hard to get it on the 4-day. Do we have it on the weekly? Whoa, look at the weekly, guys. We definitely have it on the weekly. Now, it doesn't mean that move's finished yet. It could still come down a little bit more. But we have it on the weekly. Let's look at the 2-day. We have it on the 2-day. So we have it. We have it. So that's a bullish candle. The problem with this is we come straight down and then we come straight up. I would rather it come straight down and kind of play around a little bit and then go straight up. Get away from the scene of the crime. Because then what that does is it creates bearish divergence. And all I have is 1, 2, 3, 4. This could still come down for 5. All we're doing, basically, we have this 3-way move here. So, from a short-term perspective, it could take a little bit of time. So anyways, AVAX. Let's look at AVAX. AVAX still looks great because it hasn't even broke back below its range yet. It hasn't tested the bull market support band. So, we had a little bit of a breakout here. That's an ascending triangle. We broke out. This could be back testing, and then we can see how that continues to play out. But yeah, AVAX looks good. We talked about SHIB, right? Because ultimately, what I've been saying, I still believe we will come back up here and a retrace, right? I believe we will come back into a retrace. So if this is a pump and a 3-way pullback, we can easily do that this quarter, right? So what's going on with the quarterly on this chart? So the quarterly on this chart, I mean, it was a gravestone doji, what it appears to be. So other than that, I mean, here we are. We're waiting for XRP. I would definitely keep an eye on XLM. I mean, look at this, guys. That's a nice rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. You broke out. You have this little reversed flag here on the 3-month chart. So this could just keep melting up very unexpectedly. XDC looks great. I mean, I know we're already at an hour and 20 minutes, but if you can just have part 1 and part 2, that would be kind of cool. I'm just trying to look here. XDC, Monero, trying to get it all in the one shot here. So Monero still looks really, really good. You got this accumulation in here, cup and handle, right? Higher highs, higher lows. You got a 3-way pullback. You back tested. You bounced off of that back test. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that still says, yeah, we're still rocking and rolling. So there's no problem. You know, some of them are really bad, like TIA and Bohm, but Near looks pretty good. Look at Near. Look at the way, you know, I don't think we're gonna go much lower because I mean just looking at some of these altcoins, I mean we have an ABC, we had 5 ways, we had sort of a double bottom on some, bullish divergence on others, and they're kind of just, you know, bullishly, you know, not bullishly, but they're sort of just kind of meandering here in sort of a bullish posture, right? Especially because look, we're back above the bull market support band here on Near. So I think there's a very good chance that this could be a B wave. So like A, and then we go up in B, and then we get C later on. But at least we get a rally to satisfy us for a little while, right? Okay, Theta Fuel. I know you guys love Theta Fuel. I love it too. But, you know, it's not as nice looking as Theta or SHIB or some of the other ones. But it still looks fine. I think Theta Fuel's even a higher risk. Look, Theta Fuel will perform better when we're really, really bullish. Theta Fuel performs really good, better than others, right? But when we're really bearish, it's the opposite too, right? So there's really nothing to say here except, you know, we're building a range and we have to wait and see. I don't like how it's an M. I don't like that shape really that much. But, you know, it is what it is. Hopefully this video will upload, being that it's a long video. But now let's take a look at total 3. So this is probably the most important chart because this is basically the altcoin chart. And you can see we are still at all-time highs here. And by the way, what did the quarterly chart say? Well, look at the quarterly chart, guys. You know, we just had the highest quarterly candle close in crypto total 3 altcoin history. And people are bearish? I don't really understand that. No, I know I do understand. I'm just, you know, there is cause for concern. But if you look at it from this perspective, look at this. You know, look how long this has taken here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are a lot. These are years, right? So what happened during all of these years? We've had an impulse, and we had this nice cup, and now we're sort of making a little bit higher, a little bit higher. We're trying to push it. We're trying to push it. We're trying to push it. We're trying to push it, and then boom, we eventually push out and break and boom, right? So I think that's very, very possible. Again, look at this candle right here. That's the highest quarterly candle, not weekly, daily, month. You know, this is a quarterly candle, the big boy, right? The big boy. All right. So 4, 8, 12. Yeah. So it'd be 3, 6, 9, 12. So every 3 months. All right. As far as the smaller time frames go on the weekly, so the weekly, you know, it's as long as we stay above these 2 black lines and above the bull market support band, we're doing pretty good here. You know, it could still, it boils down to 2 things. Number 1, do we break out? Or number 2, do we have A, B, C, and then we break out? Or number 4, we just have a bear market, right? So really, 1, 2, go. 1, that's one idea. 1, 2, 3, go. That's 2 ideas. Or we crash and burn. That's 3 ideas. So it's 3 ideas. 2 up and then 1 down. So I kind of like my odds. But what's concerning is, I still think the deep state's going to try some kind of cyber attack to bring down the financial system and blame it on Trump, just like they did with COVID. But I don't know if that's going to happen this year. I don't know exactly. It's all speculation, right? But okay, so for total 3, I'm trying to gauge this chart here. So it looks to me like we have a 3-way move. So this could be 3 down, 3 up, and then we have 1, 2, 3 back down. Then we back. Oh, yes, I like that, because that makes sense. We back test the bull market support band. So 1, 2, 3. So we still have some downside to go. So we have 3 down, we have 3 up, and then 3 down. That's a very big running flat. So that would be very simple. A, B, or probably WXY, but whatever, ABC, something like that. And then we bounce off here and we go. I mean, that would be really, 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 really good. And that's what I would really like to see. XRP versus Bitcoin really quick. I mean, we're just it looks kind of sad and pathetic. It's, it's just kind of like, we're just burning here. We're like rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways. Maybe we get the breakout. Is there anything else while I'm on here that we can talk about? Basically, I think we covered pretty much everything. Yeah, QNT. Wow, look at that. QNT looks interesting. QNT looks interesting, guys. Look at this. It's an expanded flat. Or no, it's a regular flat. But the way it's kind of posturing up, and you can see, look at this pressure cooker in here. Dude, when this thing breaks, it's going to be massive, because look how much confluence is in there. It's a lot. All right, last thing would be silver. Oh my God, look at gold. It's flying, and we don't want that necessarily. But look at silver, guys. Silver's also, dude, silver's almost at $50 a coin. I remember buying this thing for it's like $15, but then you had to pay a little bit of a premium. So I still have all my silver. Again, this is the largest cup and handle in human history on any chart in the world. This is, how many years is that? From, what year was that? 1980. So to 2000, that's 20 years. That's a 45-year cup and handle. Dude, that's insane. 45, get it? Oh, Trump, 45 and silver. Maybe we'll go to a silver standard cup and handle. Let's go. All right, so that's pretty much that. DXY real quick. Problem with DXY is, look at the DXY, guys. You have an impulse, you have a 3-way pullback. That's scary, because if this thing continues up, then it's pretty much lights out for crypto. So, and then we also kind of have, this double bottom here, same thing kind of over here, double bottom. So if this starts to shoot up, hopefully, we still get a little bit of a rally here. The big one too would be the Russell. If we could break out of the Russell, I think the Russell's going to break out. It looks like it should break out. And if it does, by theory, then we should get a breakout for XRP. XRP versus Ethereum looks terrible. So I don't know what's up with that, but it doesn't look so good. I wonder what XLM versus, let me try that. XLM versus Ethereum. Same kind of thing, same kind of thing. But, I like that. It's the B wave, and I like the C wave. So it could in fact be finished. It could in fact be finished. So we're at 293. So anyways, that'll do it for this video. Man, it was an hour-and-a-half video, but I think we covered a lot. You don't have to watch it all in one video. Watch it in separate parts. But dude, this is it here. So at this extremely small time frames, I don't really have much to say. It probably will take a little while to get this uploaded, but basically, you have a little bit of a flat here. So let's see if we get a complex flat or more of a bigger one. But yeah, let's keep an eye on everything here, and we'll see how it continues to play out. Again, I'm kind of neutral at the moment, but there's still a lot of bullish signs that we can't ignore, but there's also a few bearish ones too, right? So we'll see how it all plays out. Remember, not financial advice. If you can like this video, share it. I really appreciate that. It's been a while since I did any videos, but anyway, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.